Today I will be taking a ride on a boutique Telecaster bridge, so stick around. Hey everybody, it is Aaron at Warmoth, and this is a Schroeder Telecaster half bridge. I think most people would consider this a boutique Telecaster bridge replacement. And today I'm going to be comparing it to this Telecaster half bridge. This is the Wilkinson half bridge that Warmoth sells. And these are alike in many ways and not alike in many ways. But before I go into that, I should probably explain why I chose a half bridge for this test. And in my mind, there are a lot of good advantages to half bridges, Half-Tele bridges. Probably the biggest one being that you can use them with whatever kind of bridge pickup you want, whether it's a P90 or a humbucker or a TV Jones or whatever. And honestly, I prefer them with Telecaster bridge pickups. The other reason that's a little bit unique to my situation is that I'm swapping parts out constantly, whether it's for these videos or I like to swap parts out and try different things on my own guitars. And a Tele half bridge allows you to switch the bridge without having to switch the bridge pickup, or switch the bridge pickup without having to remove the bridge. And so it just makes swapping parts around easier. So for those reasons, I really like half bridges. Now, a lot of people will say that the full Tele bridge is very inherent to the peculiar tone of a Telecaster because the bridge is mounted right in the pickup. Well, I have already done a shootout on that. I'll link to it in the description, and you can go back and watch it if you want. But what I found was that the change between having the Telecaster bridge pickup mounted right in the bridge or just using a half bridge, it was actually this one that I used in that test. It was very, very small. I have to go back and rewatch it myself, but as I remember, I detected a little bit of change, but not much. Not enough to overcome the other advantages that I've already gone over. So next I want to go over the features of each of these bridges and kind of give you my first impressions. And I'll start with the Wilkinson Tele half bridge that Warmoth sells. This bridge retails for $38. It has a stamped steel base plate. It can be either rear-loaded or top-loaded. It has brass compensated saddles, and the string spacing is 2 1/8 inches. And really, in materials and construction, it is essentially a traditional Tele bridge, with the exception of, being a half bridge, having the part cut off that holds the pickup. But as far as the construction, it's essentially a vintage Tele bridge. Now, the Schroeder, on the other hand, is very much not a traditional Tele bridge. These retail for $125. Schroeder did give us a little discount, but we essentially bought it just like anybody else would. You can see that it looks much thicker and more robust around the edges here, and it actually has an aluminum base plate. Many of the other features are the same, with the compensated brass saddles, 2 1/8 inch string spacing. It fits the Warmoth vintage Tele bridge route. The big differences really are the aluminum base plate, and this can only be rear loaded or string through loaded. It can't be top loaded. If you want to get this top loaded, they have a different bridge that looks pretty much exactly like this, but it's drilled on the back for top loading. And as far as first impressions, this, like I said, it's much thicker around the sidewalls here, and it looks very robust. But because it's made out of aluminum, it weighs almost the same as this. It's very, very close. I would have to get out a digital scale to tell you which one weighs more. But it might actually be the Wilkinson. They're very, very close. So don't let the thickness of these side rails and stuff scare you away. Weight is not going to be a factor with this bridge. It's very, very light. I definitely prefer a heavier bridge like this. The Tele ashtray bridge isn't really my jam, so I'm very anxious to try this. As far as concerns I might have, the height of the grub screws here has me a little concerned because I hate when I can feel grub screws on the side of my hand, and they do stick up a little higher than the sidewall. So I'm going to be interested to see how that feels. And then the last thing I'll say about the Schroeder bridge is I got the flat back. Schroeders also have this back that has kind of a decorative edge on the back that's kind of peculiar to the Schroeder look. I bought the one with the flat back just because I prefer that look, but if you see them around town, you'll very likely see them with that decorative back on them. And lastly, since I have it half taken apart, I want to show you how I grounded the Half-Tele bridge. On the vintage tele route that Warmoth does now, we run a grounding wire channel from here into the control area, but this was routed, or this body was made before we started doing that. And it was assumed that you would have a traditional full tele bridge on here, which gets grounded automatically by the pickup. When I modified this for a half bridge, I did drill a grounding wire channel, but I don't have a drill bit that will make it that far. But I do have one that'll make it that far. So I drilled a hole from here into the pickup cavity, and I ran a wire through there and into the control cavity and soldered it on the back of one of the pots. And you can see that it looks like a hot mess. But that's okay, it's all hidden behind the bridge. But I figured I would show you that since I have the bridge off and many of you had asked about that. All right, on with the test. All right, lay it on me. Which one did you prefer and why? I will tell you that I listened over speakers. I listened over 2 different pairs of headphones. I can tell you right now, I could not pick them out in a blind test. I felt like there was a difference playing it. I mean, there's definitely a difference in the tactile sensation of playing it. When I was doing that, I felt like the Wilkinson felt more metallic. It had that metallic top end like tele bridges have, and the Schroeder did not. Listening to the clips though, just listening purely to the clips, divorced from the tactile experience, man, it's tough. Sometimes I think I hear that top end in the Wilkinson bridge and a little bit more mids in the Schroeder. Then I listen to it, you know, a different part of the clip, and I can't tell the difference at all. So yeah, I'm really curious to see what you guys hear, what your ears are telling you, because it's very, very, very close to me. As far as the concern I had about the grub screw on the side of my hand, once I got the strings on, the string height coming over the barrel saddle there is just a smidge higher than the grub screw, so I really didn't feel that it wasn't much of an issue. Just on principle alone, I would like to see the grub screws down inside the saddles, but in reality, it didn't bother me that much. So the question really becomes, if the Wilkinson is 38 and the Schroeder is 125, is it worth almost $100 difference? If you really prefer the tactile feeling of the bridge, and by the way, this wider ledge here, I definitely liked better. All in all, I like the playing experience of the Schroeder better. Tele purists or guys who really like the Tele, they may not, because it is quite a different feel. And like I said, the question is it worth, almost $100 extra to you? Knowing that it might change this, that it definitely changes the tactile experience, and it might change the sound when you're the one playing the guitar. Man, I would bet money nobody can tell the difference in a blind test. And that is it. Like I said, I'm really anxious to hear what you guys heard. In the meantime, if you have any more questions about the Wilkinson Tele half bridge that Warmoth sells, I will link to it in the description. I'll also link to the Schroeder in the description. And don't forget us if you need replacement necks or replacement bodies. We have Fender licensed replacement necks. We have Fender replacement bodies. We've got all kinds of original designs. They're all on our website. If you want to know more than what you can find on the site, give our customer service reps a call. And until next time, keep on picking.